What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Remote Control Podcast, where a couple of geeks just sit and talk about movies, TV, comics, and music, and a whole bunch of other stuff. This is a shit show right now. So with me today, as always, is Golden Bird.
Yo.
And a returning guest who we've had on, I think, one other time before is Jonathan. What's going on, man?
Hello, Internet.
All right.
Show us your dicks.
Don't do that.
What is going on?
Terrible idea.
Hollywood will happen here to the remote control. Please don't do that.
On this episode of the Remote Control, we're going to go
Sponsored
over,
by Airheads.
We're not sponsored by anybody. We're going to be going over some video game
sponsored
stuff.
by you.
Like Injustice 2, some EA news, Xbox, Battlefront, stuff like that. We're going to talk TV. We're going to talk the CW Arrowverse. We're going to talk some Dragonball Super. We're going to talk some movie stuff of what Sony's doing with the Spider-Man universe. Colton and I went and saw Murder on the Orient Express. We'll do a
Daisy Ridley was fucking hot.
a non-spoiler review on that. Marvel news, we got some Infinity War trailer news. When it comes to DC, we got some Suicide Squad stuff and first reactions to Justice League. And then the big news of the week is we're going to talk about this whole news report that came out that Disney was talking to 21st Century Fox and possibly purchasing a lot of their assets, and Colton's dying for some reason.
He said the biggest news. I thought this meme. I had the sudden urge to put a whole turkey wing inside my pussy.
Oh, God.
That's this episode, everybody.
All right, so video game stuff. I know, John, you're pretty big with video games and stuff like that. You actually posted this in the Facebook group today about or maybe it was yesterday, about the new fighter pack that's coming out for Injustice 2.
With the Turtles.
Yeah, with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Go, go, Power Rangers.
So it's introducing
Plot twist.
the Atom, Enchantress, as well as all four the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm not a big Injustice fan. Do you play it, Jonathan?
I do. It's a time killer game, really. It's just
whatever your name is. Okay.
typical fighter game, but that's part of the fun of it. Is
Yeah.
getting all the random people.
I mean, these fighter packs, because again, I've never played the first one. I haven't played the second one. Is it like, do they normally add to the story element, or is it just additional characters?
Typically it's just additional characters. I haven't seen anything on a new story yet, but
Okay.
I also haven't bought any of those or downloaded anything like that yet. I just get on and beat people up with a Green Lantern. Potentially Colton in the next 10 minutes.
Yes!
Jesus.
Sorry, headphone users.
Yeah, I mean, I want to try Injustice 2.
I have it for PS4.
You have it?
I got it for Xbox.
I think PS4. I have the first one and second.
Maybe bring it over one day. I can check it out.
I mean, we do have the official remote control PS4.
We do. Woo! EA has bought Respawn Entertainment, which comes a month after EA closed Visceral Games. Now, last week or 2 weeks ago, we talked about EA closing Visceral Games on Star Wars Talk because it's kind of a big deal. Visceral Games was working on a new Star Wars game, and it got closed, and the Star Wars game is now canceled. But Respawn Entertainment is also working on a Star Wars game. And with this purchase, I don't know what that means for the Titanfall series, because it's the only two games that they've made so far, and who knows what it means about the upcoming Star Wars game that they're supposed to be creating.
Oh, my life. Sorry. No, what was the one that Visceral was working on?
That was
Wasn't that the Bounty Hunter one?
No, it was an action-adventure game.
Oh, so like the Han Solo film.
Kinda, yeah, something like that, maybe. I don't know. Xbox One X released. Actually, no, that just released this past week, didn't it?
Yeah, we have the Project Scorpio.
Yeah.
Go in the group, you'll see an unboxing of it.
Now, it's sold like hotcakes. No, I'm sorry. It's sold like hotcakes at a fat farm on cheat day. Nobody?
Nope.
Bastards.
You're the only one with any experience in a fat camp, Bob.
I've never been to a fat camp. I only got fat recently, all right?
Your man breasts speak otherwise.
Basically, reports are saying that Microsoft has nearly doubled its sales forecast for the Xbox One X, and GameStop reports that it sold nearly all their stock in 24 hours. So, got a question for both of you.
Okay. I may have an answer.
Is this just high demand or is it low inventory?
I don't have an answer.
I'm going to say low inventory. I don't think they expected it to sell as much as it did.
So it's both then in your eyes. It's high demand and low inventory.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just low inventory. I think they're pulling the same stunt that Nintendo did with their last few consoles, where they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make as many as we can," and they put 6 out in the public, and like, "Oh, sorry, we're trying to make them as fast as we can. They're just selling so quickly."
Fight to the death.
And it's not what it is at all. Like these companies have had months to produce these machines and have plenty for the public.
They're not machines; they're people.
They just put them out there.
Robot shit.
What?
It's my robot shit.
My robot shit.
I.
Oh, iRobot. Okay, yeah.
They're not machines, they're people. No?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, for 2 today.
That's all right.
Don't worry, he'll sit over there and fuck himself, Bob.
You didn't laugh either.
But I got the reference.
Oh, sorry.
Bob,
but what I think it is,
anus inserts fizz.
I just think it's one of those things where they're just like, okay, we're gonna make it look like it's high demand. That way they sell more because that's what companies do now.
Makes people want to go buy more because they're like, oh, they're selling out. So
Exactly.
you want to go buy another one.
Exactly how it works.
Like me, just go out and buy one for your health.
Yeah. You pretty much you come over today and you're like, hey, guess what I'm gonna do today? I'm like, what? You're like, go buy an Xbox One X. I'm like, why? He's like, because I got the money to.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess that works.
I'm gonna hold off my rant about Sprint.
Yeah, you can hold off on
Because
that.
fuck Sprint, and that's all everybody needs to know.
Battlefront is EA's next installment in the Battlefront series comes out this week. Now, there's been a big controversy that just started up on Reddit, I think today or yesterday.
Are you sure about that?
About how much the heroes cost in game because you have to earn points.
Oh, is that like to use them in battle?
Yeah, to unlock them and to be able to use them in the game. And people were freaking out because they want to use like Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and stuff, but they're all locked. You know, and people are upset about that.
You have to go like 48-2.
So EA was like, look, we care about the community, but, we feel that you have to play the game to be able to get these characters, and people just bitched and bitched and bitched and bitched. And today, literally about 25, 30 minutes before we started the show, EA announced, hey, we're listening to you. We heard your outcry, and the cost of these characters, the cost of the characters are significantly less now. So they dropped the cost of these characters so people can get them faster now. So
I'm mad I canceled my EA pass, or I could be playing it right now.
it could be.
I gotta pick it up tomorrow. 3 days before release. 2 days before release. Don't worry, guys. I know no one's fucking interested. I'll be over here stroking my own fucking dick.
All right, so this one's going to be more towards you, and I don't think he'll care too much.
Wow.
So about a year and a half, 2 years ago, a game came out, a mobile game came out that kind of swept not only the nation but the world. Everybody was loving this game.
DBZ Dokkan Battle?
And people
Candy Crush.
No, people fucking loved
Angry
it.
Birds.
And were eating it up, and then there were reports of people walking off cliffs and driving cars into telephone poles and shit like that because this damn
the
game.
Pokemon goes.
So the game was Pokemon Go. Now, about a week or two ago, they announced the same company that made Pokemon Go is creating a Harry Potter augmented reality game. Now, John, I know you're a huge Harry Potter fan.
I see you're fully erect.
The biggest Harry Potter fan around.
I'm not. I just feel like it's going to be the same thing as Pokemon was. Like, the nostalgia effect wore off on Pokemon in like a week. It wasn't fun. There was nothing to do but walk around and swipe right.
That's Tinder.
Wrong.
No.
Wrong app.
Swipe
Still
left.
Still
Same thing.
You just throw different kinds of balls at them. That's all. There was a good one there.
I'll give credit where credit is due on that one. But I also should get credit for the tee off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand what it's gonna. How you don't catch things in Harry Potter unless they do it like the Fantastic Beasts. They could go something like that.
I turned off my mic for that.
We didn't.
Sorry, everybody. So, not too long, like right after Pokemon, Yeah, but why do you look like you're gonna kill me? I'm actually talking about something.
Listening.
Yeah, with a fucking serial killer look on your face. So,
Oh, fuck! Oh, my God! What the fuck just happened?
So yeah, I'll edit that out. So that's about 1454. So, right after Pokemon Go came out, the Halloween, towards then, they were supposed to make a augmented horror game like Pokemon Go, where you can like walk through your house and like shit will jump out at you if you look through your phone.
Interesting. I don't understand what they're gonna do for Harry Potter. I mean,
Yeah, I don't. The initial reports when I saw, I mean, they announced preliminary production of it, I guess, over like a year ago. An initial thing said, you'll be able to capture fantastic beasts and cast spells and this and that, but like it just kind of just seems dumb to me, to be honest with you. It's just another money grabber, maybe, and it doesn't. I don't think. I mean, utilizing the GPS, like it doesn't use a lot of data. The game itself, so like I don't think it would be really hard to keep up on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, so it's probably just an easy money grab for them, but I really don't see the point in it. I mean, I'll probably download it, check it out, see what it's about, but I don't see it lasting forever.
I mean, Pokemon Go. Honestly, you guys say it died. I haven't played. I think I played it for like 5 minutes because I downloaded it for my kids. But there's still people that gather around Uniontown, like once or twice a week, and they go scavenging for Pokemon.
There's still people we work with that play Pokemon.
Yeah, that's how I know about it, because people that we work with do it.
Once, like I said, the nostalgia effect wore off. It was really cool at first to be able to do that and experience that again.
I think I would have been more into it if like you could walk up to somebody and you can say fight, and you fight that person right there. Like that would be cool.
I mean, they're working on it. It's come a long way from when it started.
Fight.
Okay, Bob. No more dead air. I'll keep filling the air until you're done to move on. I won't let the dead air go on.
All right.
Going to keep talking. Okay, there we go, Bob. There you go.
I'm going to move to TV, CW Arrowverse. I don't know why you keep doing that. But we'll talk about Supergirl this week. Supergirl, thank fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Sandverse is done with. No more Maggie and Alex drama bullshit. No more pushing it in our face. No. Like I've said before, I'm okay with being progressive, but it was a little bit ridiculous in this show. Completely ridiculous.
I don't think it's just that, though. They're all going to, well, not all of them, but more Supergirl and Flash. It's just more of days of our lives with a superhero.
Yeah.
And it's getting really annoying. But that being done and over with, I'm sure we'll see it again, but it'll be a nice little break.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. This episode, this was the... this was the episode that really didn't push the overall story arc at all. Mm-hmm. It was basically about Lena Luthor being accused of
lead
poisoning, lead poisoning, or kids getting lead poisoning because of her, because of a device that she created for the end of last season. And that's pretty much all it was. I actually didn't mind that aspect of the episode. I'm not a big fan of the actress who plays Lena Luthor. I think she's kind of meh. She's not that great of an actress. But I just want to get them. They need to get to Reign. It seems like this season, for all the shows in the CW Arrowverse, with the exception of Legends, they're all like, yeah, the villain's there, but we'll get to him eventually. Yeah. That's kind of how it is this year. Like the past few seasons, it's like, boom, here's the villain, and it was like, well, who is it? Like, who is the person and stuff like that. But this year, it's just kind of like, we'll get to the villain eventually. We're gonna do all the filler in the beginning of the season.
Well, at one token, it'll be nice to have towards the ending half of the season. Will probably be jam packed with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same token, the villains have been such important parts, and the character development has been so good. And I would say almost all the villains, with the exception of the season 3 of Arrow, which I despised altogether. But character development on those villains has been really big part, and a really big part of why I kept watching. And right now it's just like, if this week, if I see it, I see it. If not, whatever.
Yeah. Flash is I actually really enjoyed this past week's Flash. While we didn't see any Flash in the episode, I mean, Barry was there, but not Flash. I think it was a good fun. It was just a good fun episode. I the whole storyline with Caitlin, Caitlin Snow, finding out a little more of what happened to her the past 6 months, I thought was interesting. I hope they build off that. Katie Sackhoff, his character, which she played, I can't remember the name. I can't remember, but she played the villain in this week's episode.
The metal hand.
Yeah. Would you stop showing memes? Put the phone down unless you're promoting us.
I was, and then I stumbled across this meme, and it was funny.
So,
I don't judge you.
Flash, I think, well, it wasn't anything, again, just like Supergirl, wasn't anything to push the overall story and narrative. It was just a good filler episode. It wasn't bad. Legends, though, this show continues to get better each week, and even with the horrid Rip Hunter in this episode, I do feel like this was probably one of the strongest episodes of this season, if not the entire series. Even though they brought back the terrible villain Damien Dark in this episode, even though I hated him in Arrow, thought he was okay last season in Legends, but only because of who he was playing off of. So this, I didn't mind. Actually, I really, really enjoyed this episode. Almost as much as last week's episode. Or actually, probably more so than last week's episode, which I thought was excellent with the baby Dominator.
That sounds fucking dirty. That sounds really fucked up.
I think Legends is making a serious push this. At the end of last season, you just have Velociraptors running through San Francisco or wherever they were. And I was very concerned with exactly what direction Legends was going. So much so that I really thought Legends maybe only had 1-2 seasons tops
That's
left.
how I felt, yeah.
But seeing this season, they're making a very strong push to be probably one of the better shows, at least not, if not on par with Flash and Arrow. Because Supergirl's good, but I don't think it's ever been up with Arrow or Flash in any stretch. But Legends made a strong push this season, and I think this is probably going to be, depending on how they play it out, one of the best seasons. Probably one of my top of all of the seasons together individually.
Yeah. I agree. Legends, I think, has been fantastic, and that show I'm more interested in seeing each week than I am the Flash or Supergirl. Arrow, though, I think Arrow this season has been the best season or show this year on CW. Arrow, Slade is back. Slade Wilson.
Thankfully.
I don't know how long he's going to be in it. I know that they talked about having a story arc, which we see it was this past weekend. It's going to be this week's episode as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's going to carry on and continue. But I did feel that he was just but a shell of a man that he was prior, in like season 2. Like he's barely but again, he doesn't have the Mirakuru in him anymore, stuff like that. So
you take all that into account, but I would say in different aspects, I think I liked them both the same, just because now not only is he still Deathstroke, but he has a purpose. His kid's involved. So a villain with a true purpose is a really good villain, in my opinion. That makes or breaks a villain, as opposed to, we want to take over the world, we want to change time. We want to do this, you want to do that. And I thought that was the biggest downfall of the Legion of Doom in the past season of Legends, is the purpose was to get the spear. Yeah. To change their lives. Like, okay, whatever. That's every villain, wants to do that. Whereas, now he isn't so much a villain yet. They could go another route.
No, the previews kind of make it seem like this coming episode this week, Slade's going to turn on Oliver. Mm-hmm. So I don't exactly know what's going to happen there.
Yeah. Well, you never know, but.
And how many episodes do you think he's going to go with not being the Green Arrow? Also. This is what, episode 3 now, I think, with him not being Green Arrow. It's got to be coming to an end soon.
Yeah, well, I think, the CW is getting kind of tired. I don't want to say tired, but it's stale. I think stale is a better word. You can only recycle Batman villains and things like that so much on Arrow. You can only do, Flashes, people being metahumans, there's millions of different possibilities you can go there, but it's going to be the similar type every week. So,
we're live on Instagram, by the way.
Oh, good.
If no one could tell.
I thought you just really liked my face.
Oh, I was putting filters on my Don't let me distract you then.
It's a little hard to do that now. I completely lost my train of thought. Colton completely derailed me.
Yeah. You were saying Arrowverse getting kind of stale.
Oh, yeah. So, them kind of toying with it, it's refreshing. Mm-hmm. And at the same token, they have to also think about what happens when Oliver Queen is out of it. What happens when Barry Allen is no longer the Flash? When Wally West, if that's the route they go, would take over in the comics like he did. Then you have other Flash, Bart Allen, and all that jazz. You got to kind of experiment with that to see how the fans are going to react and all that. And I like it so far. Granted, it's probably a long way off considering Diggle's son is still very much young.
Yeah.
And if that's the route they go in replacing him. But, as of right now, I like what they're doing. It's something different. Like you said with Flash, him not being in it for 1 week, I would have preferred that happen at the beginning as opposed to now. I thought it would be a lot cooler of a storyline if he was still in the Speed Force. But, not having him there it's refreshing. I like Grant Gustin, but it's just refreshing to not have the same thing week by week.
Yeah. And before we move on, speaking of the Arrowverse, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the whole thing that's going on with Andrew Kreisberg, who is the showrunner on both Supergirl and The Flash, who's been a huge creative force within the Arrowverse, and the allegations of the sexual assault that he has had, and that they have put him on suspension. I know that I believe Melissa Benoist has come out and said something and made some remarks, as well as what's her face who plays Felicity. I can't remember her name, but she came out and said something today as well. And with all this stuff going on, we talked about it a little bit last week on the Kevin Spacey front. I think it's important to remember that this is good that this stuff is coming out. It's important that it's coming out. It's important that everybody feels safe within the film industry and the TV industry and everything like that. It's very important because every day it seems like we're getting more names and more people who are, getting these allegations pinned on them and stuff like that. And if it's true, again, a lot of these things we don't know how true they are if they're not true, but if it is true, they need to be out of the industry. They need to be gone. They need to be punished and shown and made an example of, I think. So we're actually going to talk a little bit about that again in the movie section of the podcast with another story, but I just wanted to put that out there because we're talking about the Arrowverse. It needs to happen, and whatever happens from this point on with the shows, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. This was an important thing that needed to happen so people feel safe in the industry. So I just wanted to put that out there. Now, I know, John, you're probably not going to want to talk much about this. We'll try and keep it limited to how much we talk about it, but we are going to talk about Dragonball Super a little bit here.
I can be done.
So we know you're here, but
we're queer. Deal with it.
That's his own prerogative.
That's him.
I ain't gay, but I'll suck a dick.
$20 is $20.
Hi, Hollywood.
So you know how you want to get into Hollywood, Colton? Yeah, that's not going to help.
Yeah, it will. It will, but it'll come back in 25 plus years. When I'm long gone.
All right, so Dragon Ball Super, which was episode 115.
It was fucking tits.
Phenomenal episode. I still feel that Kefla is a little OP.
I wholeheartly agree with that.
But her power is absolutely out of this world, and it's pushing Goku to the edge. Now, in the beginning of the episode, pretty quickly, they deemed that the Patara rings are allowed since Xeno likes the fusion.
Because story, that's why.
Yeah, because story. And it causes all the other universes, or most of the other universes who have the ability to use the earrings, and including Beerus. Now, he thinks it would be cool to see 17 and 18 use them, though Weiss recommends that it isn't a good idea because of how risky it would be, because you give them the earrings, they put them on, then you're down to one fighter, and then if they get eliminated, then they lose two fighters. Yeah. So, yeah. So what did you think about the episode in whole? Because besides that, there really wasn't any other story plot to the show. It was just a lot of fighting this episode, which I thought was really cool.
I liked it. It was a good episode. I don't really like Kefla. She's like probably on par for Super Saiyan 3.5.
You would think. I mean, again, we talked about it last week. Kale was the legendary super, or is a legendary Super Saiyan, which is more powerful than a Super Saiyan. But is that more powerful than a Super Saiyan 2, or more powerful than a Super Saiyan 3? We've never seen a Super Saiyan 3 go against a legendary Super Saiyan. We've never seen the Super Saiyan 2 go against
Super Saiyan 4.
But we haven't seen that. So how powerful is that? And now, yes, I understand that their power gets, multiplied when they fuse, but I mean, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue. I mean, those are some.
That's on par with like Beerus at that point.
Super Saiyan Blue is, I mean, not Beerus, but close to.
Yeah.
You know, so that kind of bothers me. Like I said, I think she's a little overpowered, but the fighting I thought was excellent.
The fighting was excellent. I like the music when Goku first powered up to Super Saiyan Blue. When they were like, like the little like God hymns were playing.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch.
I actually love the aspect of the end of the episode, because here's the big thing for me. We knew that it was going to happen this episode, or again, but I didn't think this was going to happen.
I didn't think he'd go it.
Even in this tournament. Like, I knew it was going to happen again, but I didn't think it was going to even happen in this tournament.
We're talking about Ultra Instinct.
And yeah, Goku goes Ultra Instinct again.
Spoiler.
Now, it's interesting because Goku goes Super Saiyan God and uses the Kaioken. And it's at that moment where he's going to use this. He gets one good punch off Kefla.
Yeah, and she gets up like, use a bitch.
Yeah, no, she's mentioning, she's like, that hurt, like, ow. Yeah. But she then distracts Goku with an energy blast, and then pops up behind him and surprises him and just kicks him right in the head.
Yeah, and he's just like, eat shit.
I mean, he basically, like, it looks like he's knocked out for the count. And he, right whenever she's like, all right, I'm going to knock you off the edge, because she has to brag about everything. She's just like every Dragon Ball character. She walks towards him, is walking up to him and saying that, and he starts to stand up and he's like, no, it's not over yet. And then that music kicks in for the Ultra Instinct. And I was like, holy fuck. Like, this is literally like 2 minutes since he did it before.
Yeah, well, in Showtime.
In Showtime, yeah.
It's been like 4 episodes in reality.
So I just thought, first off, I didn't expect him to do it this season yet, let alone this episode. But it'll be interesting to see how he goes forward with this, because there is something with the body heat. Like Donald said last week, there's something with the heat that his body is giving off when it comes to Ultra Instinct.
Oh God, this chair is so uncomfortable. I'm sorry.
And that's going to play a role in some way. I think he's going to beat Kefla, but at that point, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's.
Well, that would be like Cabba's been eliminated, so that's Vegeta's apprentice.
Yeah.
I'd say Goku kind of apprenticed both of them.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. And no, Frieza eliminated Cabba.
Well, still, he's not in the tournament anymore.
True.
My thing is, though, it's going to be all fighting once they eliminate Kefla. Because there's no real story-driven characters left in there. It's going to be all fighting. Like, they kind of had little individual story arcs, but now it's nothing. I think it was, 17, 18?
Yeah, I mean, there's 19 minutes left in the tournament. The summary for the next episode is Goku unleashes intense Kai during his fight against Kefla.
Cobra God.
Goku reaches the state of Ultra Instinct once more. His body subconsciously dodges all of Kefla's attacks, reacting to Goku's power-up. Kefla also begins to increase her fierce attacks, and then dodging her attacks, Goku fires a Kamehameha at 0-point range. So that'll be interesting to see what happens next Saturday. So there, we kept it short for you.
We really could have went on.
Yeah, we could have gone on big time with that.
I appreciate it, because as soon as he said fajita, I got hungry.
Vegeta. Not
Vagina. Still hungry.
Now, before we move on to the movie stuff, I do want to announce the winner of our Superman Funko Pop figure. I said figure twice.
Finger.
I'm holding it in my hand here. I'm looking at Superman Pop.
Wait, drum roll. Give yourself a drum roll.
It is real.
So
wait, give me the M4. I'll give you a full auto drum roll.
So on October 25th, 2017, we had a person actually make a review on our podcast on iTunes, and he goes, this podcast goes into depth with a lot of things and makes a lot of sense. The Star Wars podcast episodes are pretty awesome. And that person is Ghost in the Shell 9. So if you're listening to this, Ghost in the Shell 9, reach out to us.
Your brother, Ghost in the Shell 8, won it. Sorry.
reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, or you can email us theremotecontrol@gmail.com, and we will get this to you as soon as possible, hopefully before Justice League comes out on Friday. Congratulations, man.
Setting up for our next one.
Yeah, the next
one. That one that figure comes out soon.
Yeah, we're announcing that next week, aren't we? Because that one that's leading up to Star Wars.
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't know when we're getting the figure. I forget when it comes out.
Now, to cover the week here, since we're not going to be doing anything else, or we're not going to be doing our Star Wars giveaway until next week, we do want to give away this signed cosplay magazine that Donald Booth from last week brought over, and he wanted to kind of give away. It's cosplay culture. And all you need to do is like his page and share it. That link will be at the bottom of in the description below. His access to his page, and all you need to do is like his page and share his page, and then just comment that you liked and shared it and heard it on the podcast, and you could get a chance to win this free Cosplay Culture magazine, which is signed by Donald and his daughter, because they are featured in the magazine. So that's kind of cool.
Woo! Make sure you go like it and share it.
So that'll be the winner will be determined next week. So it'll be a 1 week contest, and next week's podcast will announce who the winner is.
Yas.
Yas. Okay. So
Yas.
moving on to movies. All right.
I'm gonna clip that out so that way when we segue, just go yas. The background very faintly.
Glass, the upcoming sequel to Shyamalan's mega hit Split, which is set in the same universe as Unbreakable, is currently filming.
Wait, hold on. So Unbreakable, Split, and then Glass.
Yes.
So the Glass was Unbreakable, but then it split.
So it is currently filming right now, and we actually got some set photos of Jay McAvoy's Beast wrestling with Bruce Willis's David Dunn. I saw these photos that you guys may not have. I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. I can't wait to see this movie. I love Unbreakable. Split blew my fucking mind. And, spoilers if you haven't seen Split. I kind of just ruined the big reveal here, but it's been out for a year now, almost. A year in January. So if you haven't seen it yet...
It's been out a year, except it hasn't been out for a year.
Yeah, I hate you.
We rounded up.
Yeah, just round up a little bit. Incredibles 2 teaser trailer to premiere with the release of Disney Pixar's newest film, Coco, this month. And I will be going to see Coco with my daughter probably that weekend. So
That's cool, man.
I'll get to see
High
that.
five for being a good father. Except for me, because you was a bitch.
All right.
Remember, I'm not calling you dad.
That's our 8th plot twist of the night.
Sony Pictures is creating a Morbius film set in the Spider-Man universe. Morbius, the living vampire. I don't know him much from the comics. However, I did watch this Spider-Man animated series that was on Fox in the 90s, and I remember the story arc with Morbius. I thought it was badass, so I'm all for it. I mean,
he's an oxymoron, though. Vampires aren't alive. He's just a normal guy with a blood fetish.
And sharp teeth. Anything to say? Nothing. I just want to know what they're trying to do with the Spider-Man universe, Sony, because
Confusing.
Make it relevant.
yeah, but I mean, it's just Marvel. The MCU has Spider-Man in it. They're filming for Venom started last week, and Tom Hardy, is going to be Venom. Now they're going to make a Morbius film set in this universe. Are they just not going to have Spider-Man at all?
Maybe they're changing it from the Spider-Man universe to the Spider-Man villain universe.
I have no idea what they're doing. It's very confusing, and it's kind of annoying at this point. Like, how do you make the most prominent Spider-Man villain? Well, I guess more maybe villain, anti-hero, combination of all of the above, and not have Spider-Man in it. Like, that's still the dumbest thing in the world to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's just...
And then to announce somebody who's not as well known, and then did they announce if Spider-Man's actually going to be in this one? Like,
no, they just said that they're developing a Morbius, the living vampire film.
Smacks bottle with that.
Beats the hell out of me.
Yeah, I don't really get it.
I don't hate the idea, but it's like,
I mean,
how do
I'm
you
all
do it without Spider-Man?
I'm all for having more and more comic book movies. I'll eat them up. I'll watch them all. But
he goes to Walmart. I've seen him. Just goes, I'll order all the DVD. He buys all the DVDs. Comes home, throws them in the microwave, cuts them up, eats them.
So
You said you eat up comic book movies. I feel like that was a joke that needed to be said. Okay, I'm just gonna go back to promoting on social media.
Actually, you don't want to. So if nobody has anything else to say about that, we're going to talk about Murder on the Orient Express. Both Colin and I went and saw that literally just a few hours ago. So quickly, what did you think of the story, Colton, of the movie?
Story was good. Poorly executed, but it was good.
See, I felt the story...
I like the premise of it.
The premise, the idea, yes. I mean, it is based off the... What is it?
It's based on a novel.
Christy Abanath or something like that, I can't remember. Off of her novels. The
execution was just
it's a decent premise. I just felt that it was too predictable.
Yeah.
The story was absolutely predictable. It's a murder mystery film if you don't know what it is, and a murder takes place on a train, and there are multiple people who are suspects. All the people that are on the train are suspects.
Yeah.
And
12
or 13 people on the train that could be suspects. So, yeah, that was a little upsetting there because I thought it was too predictable.
The most disappointing part was Daisy Ridley.
And
her
the directing, actually, I didn't mind the directing. I actually liked the directing by
cinematographic.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh. He also directed the very first Thor movie. So, if you want reference to who this director is, he did the first Thor movie. But he was also the main actor in this movie. He was the leading role.
Badass mustache.
He plays the detective in the movie, who's world renowned detective in the universe. So that was good. The acting, I don't think there was anything special. I mean, you had a lot of big names: Johnny Depp, Dame Judi Dench, Daisy Ridley, Willem Dafoe, Kenneth Branagh,
Green Goblin.
I said Willem Dafoe.
My bad.
Josh Gad. I mean, you have a lot lot of good actors and actresses in it. I just don't think there was anything special. There's Michelle Pfeiffer's in it as well. Nothing too special. And the music, forgettable.
Yeah, I didn't even notice music, to be honest.
Yeah, so I my initial remarks to this movie after I walked out of the theater were sadly predictable and unsatisfying. That's pretty much how I would put it.
Yeah, no, disappointing that Daisy Ridley's love interest wasn't me, so I'll swallow that one.
All right, moving on to Marvel news. There's not much. Daredevil Season 3 has begun filming today as we're doing this. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. trailer dropped. I don't know if either of you saw it. Basically, it just shows that the villain of the first story arc of this season is going to be the Kree. So they're in space, so it's them against the Kree. That's pretty much all it is. Paul Bettany and Sebastian Stan. Paul Bettany plays Vision. Sebastian Stan plays the Winter Soldier. They both had something to say about Infinity War. Paul Bettany, while speaking at a panel at Rhode Island Comic-Con, they did. He and Sebastian Stan, were there, and they were doing their best to hype up the trailer. Bettany told the audience he's seen a version of Infinity War trailer on co-director Joe Russo's phone, and though he understandably abstained from providing specifics, he did call the trailer badass and amazing. He says it'll be out, everyone will love it. Sebastian Stan, he goes, and summing up Infinity War as a whole, he calls it epic.
Oh, man.
He calls it epic, and he says almost every scene is epic. He said that unlike previous Marvel films, this one doesn't bother with build-up, but simply unleashes from the first scene to the last.
Sorry. You know your post that you put with no spoilers for Justice League. Now we're all making a joke out of it, just putting spoilers for everything else. Phelan over here puts the milk's 2 months past expiration. Sorry, proceed.
I don't get the reference, so I don't think it's funny.
It's spoiled milk, Bob.
There doesn't need to be a movie reference. Bob, go get a glove, because that would clean over your head, man.
Put the phone down.
No. You're not my dad.
I will be soon enough, son.
On with the Borofil.
Now, DC News, Suicide Squad 2 may introduce Black Adam. You didn't hear that?
No.
Yeah, there's a report that came out that Black Adam may be introduced in Suicide Squad 2 as the main villain. That's who they have to track down in the upcoming sequel.
So did they ever release like a story for Suicide Squad 2? Like what's happening, or is it just...
It's in development still, man.
Okay, I'm sorry. Fuck, man. We're just talking.
That'd be very interesting. Well, I mean, with the timeline and everything, because Black Adam's not going to be in Shazam, correct?
That's the rumor. Yeah, he's not going to be there.
No, but
I think they're missing out on an opportunity with that.
Yeah.
You imagine having Cavill, Levi, and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, all together on screen at the same time.
I don't know that they could afford that yet.
Well, look at the cast of Justice League. They can afford it.
Yeah, but I mean, look at Justice League. Nobody was a huge name other than Affleck until Justice
I
League.
guess the two probably most expensive actors in that movie would be Affleck and Cavill at that time.
Yeah.
So, but
I mean, but moving forward, they're going to have to make
Zachary
money.
Levi's not a big name actor. I mean, he's known, but he probably doesn't cost that much yet.
No.
So it would be pretty much the same probably as Justice
but for
League.
a Shazam movie, like for a Justice League movie, that's one thing. But for a Shazam,
They need to just drop like $500 million on Shazam and be done with it. All right.
Hell, give us the 500 mil. We'll make it.
I like it though. I mean, but then again, if you think about them introducing Black Adam, you have Margot Robbie, Will Smith, Dwayne Johnson, all in one film too.
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends on who they bring back for Suicide Squad too, because we don't know all the characters that are going to be back. You know, the Joker took Harley Quinn at the end of Suicide Squad 1. So will Margot Robbie or the Joker even be in the second one?
I hope. She was hot.
I mean, I could see them bringing Will Smith back because he pretty much drove that movie, the first one. So they may want him to do that again.
Very much so. Yeah.
But again, a lot of it depends on when they want to start shooting, because right now I think he is. Which one is he? He's doing Dumbo, isn't he? I think he's in Dumbo.
Oh yeah, because Bright's already finished.
Yeah, so scheduling. I mean, Shazam's not supposed to start until sometime next year, so I don't think he has anything else going on that I can think of.
Well, plus, I mean, Suicide Squad isn't just the characters. There's variations throughout the entire series of different characters and different things. I mean, you saw in the CW verse cheetahs in the Argus.
Yeah.
You never know who's going to come up, who's going to come in, who they're going to introduce. I mean, they can push and pull characters left and right, and just include them assuming we'll see Cheetah in a Wonder Woman film in the near future.
Yeah.
If they introduce her here, you have a little bit of development behind her, and then she breaks free from Argus some way, shape, or form, and that's how you introduce her into Wonder Woman. But you never really can tell, especially with a movie like that, and one that, quote unquote, I don't want to say bombed, but didn't get the greatest reviews initially. You got to kind of, I don't want to say be careful, but
be careful.
yeah, it's good enough for me. I'll just leave it at that. But honestly, I don't hate it, just because I mean, I like Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam. I like that casting a lot. I think that a villain like that, especially if he does as well as I think he'll do, I think that could drive that movie very far, and it'll do a lot better than the initial one did. Because the initial one was kind of, I thought it was good, but it was forgettable.
Yeah.
I mean, the villain had no drive. Like, there was no, it wasn't even like a take over the world thing. Like, you never really knew what, the villain was doing, or the Joker for that matter, who was in and out.
There to chill.
Well, no, he was there to save Harley Quinn. That was his whole thing. But yeah, I agree. Enchantress wasn't the best in that movie, and I've said it in the past. I mean, Suicide Squad was the first time I saw it in theaters. I was like, I love it. Mm-hmm. Watched it at home, was like, and watched it again. Okay. I was like, it's kind of gotten worse every time I've watched it. So I do look forward to seeing what they do with Suicide Squad 2. And again, this is just reports that Black Adam's going to be in it. That may just be something they were tossing around for development, like who do you want the villain to be, that kind of thing. So it may not come to that. I just don't understand why you take Shazam's biggest villain and put him in a different movie, and while you're doing a Shazam movie, it just doesn't make sense to me.
No.
Like, I get that you don't want to just show the biggest bad guy for somebody right away. Like Lex Luthor wasn't in Man of Steel, and that's Superman's biggest villain, but they showed Zod, who was a very formidable foe.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the best villain so far in the DC cinematic universe. But at this point, Shazam, nobody really knows much about Shazam. So if you could give him a big character and somebody like Dwayne Johnson in it to draw people to see it, I think that would be the best idea. Suicide Squad 2, people are going to go see it. You have Will Smith in there or Margot Robbie, people are going to go see it. You don't need to bring Johnson in for that. You can find another character, or even just do what they should have done with the first Suicide Squad and make Joker the villain. They could do something like that. That's my only problem with it. And again, I'm going to see it no matter what they do. I just don't understand why they're doing it this way. But again, it could not happen this way.
Well, at the same token, though, you said yourself, Shazam isn't really well known, and I mean, just off the top of my head, I only remember really seeing Shazam in one of the animated Justice League movies. That he was a very prominent role in that, but that was the only one he was really in. And
What was it, season 2 of Young Justice? I don't know if you ever finished that. He was a pretty big role in that
I
too.
didn't finish it, but other than that, he's not well known in terms of the casual comic book goer. So Shazam I see being probably more of a development story than anything, because they haven't really done that. Yeah, I mean, aside from Wonder Woman, but
which was after she was shown anyways.
yeah, so it was after the fact. But you kind of have to develop him as opposed to people like Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. You don't have to pull out all these development stories for characters that everybody already knows. So whereas Shazam's a little different. So we may see. I'm willing to. I don't want to say put money on it, but I'm anticipating seeing the first half of that movie being more the life of Billy Bastion, and then not so much Shazam in the movie as we think is going to happen.
My thing is this is the only thing I want. I want Henry Cavill's Superman to be in it. Like, that is my big thing for Shazam. He needs to be in that movie because that's a big part of who Billy Batson is. He looks up to Superman, and once he has these powers to be able to have these godlike powers, he still looks up to Superman. He still wants to get that recognition from him, like, hey, good job, type of thing. And I would love to see that happen in the movie in some way. Like, even if it's just, a short, like 10-15 minute screen time for Superman, to have that in there, I think is very important.
And I agree. In that initial movie, I think having Superman in it is more important than Black Adam, because that's his driving force.
Yeah.
At any point is Superman. It's not so much Black Adam's his most prominent foe, but Superman's the reason he wants to be what he is.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on, the soundtrack for Justice League released this past week, and
How'd you feel about it, Bob?
Disappointed.
I haven't talked in probably about 10 minutes. I figured I'd jump in.
It was pretty disappointing. I know last week I raved about the Batman theme and that one scene that they released online, and it worked for that. But listening to the soundtrack in its entirety from start to finish 3 times now, I don't get the same feeling that I did with Batman vs Superman soundtrack, or even Man of Steel, or even Wonder Woman's at that. And it's just disappointing. Danny Elfman is not, and it was not the right choice to move on with this epic film. He just wasn't. Zimmer and Junkie XL, Zimmer and Junkie XL, they did something with the music in the last 2 films that the music tells a story as well. And I've talked about this when I've talked about film music. There's different ways that you can insert music into movies, and Zimmer and Junkie XL decided to tell a story with their music as well as complement what is seen on screen. And Elfman doesn't do that. His music doesn't tell a story. His just complements what's on screen. And to me, that's just disappointing. Maybe it works for the film. I may go into the movie and like, damn, the music worked great watching it. But as a soundtrack, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about what it sounds like with the movie, because I haven't seen the movie yet. As a soundtrack, it's not good. It's just not worth it. There's nothing that stands out. There's nothing that I want to go back to and like, oh, I gotta listen to that again. I gotta listen to that again. I gotta listen to that again. Whereas like with Batman vs Superman, Beautiful Lie, that first track on that album is phenomenal. And then Is She With You, the Wonder Woman theme, phenomenal. I think the other track is You're My World, which is the one where Superman dies. Phenomenal track on Batman vs Superman. And then you have Flight on Man of Steel and so many others you can go back to. Just this one, there's nothing that I want to go back to at all. So
no, best described is forgettable at this point in time. But at the same token, I think we just in the initial reports I'm seeing from Justice League that it's a little more lighthearted, not as dark. I'm just going to.
Glad someone turned on the lamp.
I don't like him.
I deal with this every week.
I don't like me either.
I'm looking for a replacement, John.
Wow. Don't worry. I'll go over here and fuck myself again.
Take a break. I'm getting. But in saying that, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because it does sound a lot lighter than the other 2 films. Don't get me wrong. I think BVS and Man of Steel were both like score-wise absolute masterpieces, and they're you can sit there and listen to them without the movie and still feel the movie.
Yeah.
But you just listen to this now, but we haven't seen the movie yet. So I think that if it is a little bit more lighthearted than the other two, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for right now and just kind of hang out and wait.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be seeing the movie within the next 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
So we'll know then what it's like. Speaking of which, when you're talking about the lightheartedness and not the lightheartedness, but the lightness of the movie, Snyder they didn't only want to have the mood of the movie slightly change and lighter than the previous ones, but Snyder wanted it to look different than other DC films as well. In an interview with Kodak, Justice League cinematographer Fabian Wagner had this to say about Snyder and his vision. Zack was incredibly nice and open. He's a huge fan of the original comic books and the characters and has a fantastic knowledge of that world. We chatted for an hour or so about his general ideas for the production. Moving the look forward, Zack wanted to get away from the stylized, desaturated, super high contrast looks of the other films in the franchise. I'm someone who likes to light very naturally, so that fit my work ethic. It had already been decided that Justice League would shoot on 35mm film, and although I had not shot celluloid for several years, I was excited by the prospect. So, immediately from the time that he was talking and hiring a cinematographer, he was talking about changing the way the movie feels. Because, I mean, I could tell in the previews it does look very different than, previous Snyder films. Now, again, I've been seeing that was Joss Whedon that was changing it, but obviously it looks like it was...
Yeah, which I think goes to say that I am a lot less... I mean, I wasn't very concerned about it in the first place, but I'm even less so now, knowing that he had more... I mean, even though he stepped down, he had a lot more to do with it than what we saw.
Yeah.
And that satisfies me to any point. And at this point, though, I don't think I'm going to go in, and I'll probably pick it apart just because as a comic book nerd, that's what you do, regardless. Every movie you go see in this scenario, you're going to be able to pick it apart in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. But I think we're going to be entertained. I think it's going to be good. As to whether it does that monetarily or not, I don't know. Can't say. I don't feel like it wouldn't. It is the first Justice League live-action film we're getting. Yeah. I imagine that hype alone is going to satisfy their monetary needs. But I have no doubts that it's going to be at least a good movie, if not more on the great side of things.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
All right.
Don't need evidence.
Before I get into the last piece of information from DC, the first reactions to Justice League were out. A lot of it is positive. There are some negative reactions I've seen on Twitter. It was the
everything
social media embargo lifted. The full review embargo lifts Tuesday, which for us we're recording Monday, so that's tomorrow. I am not reading a single review. I've actually gone, for the most part, Twitter dark at this point until I see the movie, because today there's been a lot of fan viewings. The world premiere happened and Hollywood is going on right now in Hollywood. I think that I'm going to try and stay off Twitter as much as possible. Yeah, I'm going to share some things on Twitter and things like that, but I'm not going to actually go searching through Twitter. And in our Facebook group, please, if you are a listener who is part of our Facebook group, do not post any spoilers in there. Even if you haven't seen the film, if you see a website or something with a spoiler, please don't post it, because there's a lot of us who are fans of this franchise, and I want to go in knowing as little as possible at this point, because I've heard that a lot of the second half of the film's reveals have not been spoiled yet, and I'm really looking forward to that. And
Rachel.
And I honestly, unfortunately, got spoiled on one aspect of it, because a comic book website, comicbook.com, believe it or not, which is a bigger website.
This happened probably 5
literally
minutes
it's just
before we
like
started recording.
Literally, they're like, "Hey, check this picture out," and I was like, "Ooh, okay."
And you threw your phone.
And I clicked on it, and the first thing I see at the top is blah 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 Justice League. I was like, "No, fuck no!" And I threw my phone. I was like, "No!"
It made me pause my game and everything. I was so confused.
I was pissed, like literally, because it gives away
that Ryan Reynolds is Green Lantern.
Don't you wish? But it gave away, an aspect of the movie that I didn't want to know. I don't think it's a huge spoiler, but it's still something that I don't want to know. Like I would have much rather be sitting in. I would have much rather be sitting in the theater and see this thing happen and go, "Holy shit!" Than now I'm expecting it. You know, that's just the unfortunate thing. But please don't keep away from giving us spoilers, because we're gonna not spoil it for anybody after we see it for as long as we can. I do
1
have
week, 2 weeks.
Usually about a week. I give it about a week, because the fans that really want to see it are going to see it within that
they're gonna
week.
see it.
So now, Gal Gadot will not return for Wonder Woman 2 if Brett Ratner is still attached. This goes in hand with the sexual assault allegations that are being put on Brett Ratner. I just want to get your guys' feelings on that, because remember, Gal Gadot, as far as I know, has not signed on for Wonder Woman 2 yet.
No.
However, Brett Ratner's production company called Rat Pack Entertainment has signed a deal with Warner Brothers, not just for Wonder Woman 2, but for Shazam, Suicide Squad 2, and I think 2 other films, Flashpoint and Green Lantern. Yeah. That company has signed on to be partnered with them to create those movies. That means they're throwing cash into these films. Now, Warner Brothers has said that they have parted ways with Brett Ratner, but his company's still there.
Yeah.
What do you guys like? Do you think Gal Gadot has the right to do this? Do you think that it's a smart move for her? How do you feel if they would recast her? I mean, there's a lot of different things that can go through your head now at this point.
After watching Wonder Woman, I mean, she clearly feels strongly about it, and don't get me wrong, I don't think she's wrong in doing that, but she did it at like the perfect time.
Yeah.
She's already had Wonder Woman, which is, I think, should be.
Rotten Tomatoes says it's the number 1 comic book movie of all time. It's the number 1 superhero origin movie. I mean, it's huge.
And she is in a complete position of power now. She is Wonder Woman. She is already Wonder Woman to how many millions of not people like us, but kids. I mean,
little girls.
Yeah, little girls across the globe.
Like me.
And and she's standing up for what she believes, and I wholeheartely support her. And I think that Warner Brothers needs to completely cut ties with that, because I don't think that anybody, not off the top of my head, most certainly, is going to be able to step into that role. And
Margot Robbie.
And no, stop.
Wow, shut me down real fucking quick.
There is, I think she was one of, if not the perfect casting for any hero across the board that I've seen. She absolutely nailed it, absolutely killed it, and I think that she is.
Candy's here. I'm gonna eat it.
I think that I honestly believe WB just folds to her and lets her go, because I don't think they recover from taking that side of it.
Yeah, and you're right, because if they decide to move away from Gal Gadot, I mean they're then looking at the idea of bad PR, because they're going to be like, look, they're siding with somebody who's accused of sexual assault and being a complete dick to Ellen Page. I don't know if you heard that report of how he outed Ellen Page on the set of X-Men 3. Like, I mean, it's not illegal, but that's a dick move.
Yeah.
She wasn't out yet, and she's like, she's gay. I don't know what happened there, but
Just because I'm gay.
But I think that they need to. The problem is money, because how much money has Rat Pack put into this franchise already? I mean, they'll continue to get their money for Wonder Woman, and I think they did Batman v Superman and Justice League, so they're going to continue to get their residuals from that. But what kind of deal? Because they have a multi-picture deal. So is it going to be like, here's $10 million, get the hell out of here?
Yeah.
Here's $100 million. Like, how much? What is the limit for Warner Brothers to say, look, this is as much as we're willing to pay? And will Gal Gadot say, okay, look, you guys are trying, but I understand it's a business, so I'll continue working. Thank you for trying your hardest to get rid of them, and stuff like that. That's where I think it comes down to, because it's money. I mean, unfortunately, that's what it comes down to. Rat Pack couldn't care less about what Brett Ratner did. Yeah, it's his company, but they don't fucking care. They just want their money.
Yeah.
They have people that they need to pay. Warner Brothers, on the other hand, right now, they're just stuck. They're like, are we going to lose Gal Gadot, or are we going to, potentially have to pay out millions of dollars to get rid of this company?
I think they wait till after Justice League.
Which may be a mistake, because then they may want more.
Well, yeah, they may want more, but at the same token, at that point in time, if Justice League does as well as I anticipate, they can probably just
afford it
and be done with it.
Because you figure, I mean, Wonder Woman 2, they're probably going to have a budget of probably around $200 million, maybe $300 million at the very most. That's high end. So if you have to then pay $100 million to get rid of this company, that just adds to that budget. So, and will you be able to make that money back like you want.
With the Wonder Woman movie, I don't see it being an issue.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, that movie, probably the next Wonder Woman is going to make close to $1 billion, I think, after how well the first one did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if the story seems weak at first, it's still the drive of
800, 900 million easily.
Yeah.
I could see Wonder Woman 2 making.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I just think it's. I mean, you haven't said much, Colton. What do you?
Because you guys are hitting everything. I don't really have anything to add.
I mean, I haven't read too much into the allegations. Are they just allegations at this point?
Brett Ratner.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just allegations.
You know.
I mean, the big one is Olivia Munn. She's the one that came out and was like, he literally went into her trailer and forced himself on her and stuff like that. He then went and bragged about having sex with her. Like, there was a whole ordeal, and this happened years ago, and that's just how he is. Like, and it's just ridiculous. Like, again, I said that this shit needs to get taken care of.
Yeah.
But it just sucks. Like, and this isn't. I've said this in the past in different Facebook groups, and I was like, look, this could hurt Hollywood. And people are like, oh, it looks like you don't want this to be talked about. And that's not the case. What I've been trying to say is stuff like this is going to happen. And it's going to hurt Hollywood. It's going to hurt the content, the product that we get. I'm not saying that, oh, fuck you for making it more difficult for us to enjoy something, but it just sucks that these assholes had to not only ruin the lives of all these, women and men, but I mean, it's going to ruin, fans' enjoyment of things as well, because they're assholes. And I'm not saying that our pain for not enjoying something is as bad as what these people have gone through. It's just unfortunate. It sucks, and that's the way it is.
I mean, she just said she won't do Wonder Woman 2 unless he's off of Wonder Woman 2, correct?
Yeah.
Out of the universe completely.
I think she just wants him gone. I mean, on any movie that she works on.
Yeah, I could see maybe a compromise happening more so than anything, because if they are at this point...
But again, you got to remember, what does the PR then look like for WB? And then what do these women think about WB? Because okay, we'll make a compromise. You don't be on Wonder Woman. It's okay to be on Suicide Squad too. And they're like, you're still working with somebody who's committed sexual assault on women, who's a womanizer.
Well, I disinclude him. I mean, that's the unfortunate part of this, is that you have these people coming up like, what's his name from House of Cards?
Kevin Spacey. Now House of Cards is getting affected on it just because of one person. So I don't believe that the company should be punished for the actions of one person. But at the same token, yeah, I think it would be different. Like if Brett Ratner was like a high level executive of WB, I think that's different. But the fact that Rat Pack Entertainment is it's his sole company, that's where I think the big problem is with that, because even if you say, okay, you can't have a producer credit on a film, you can't be on set, you can't do this, he's still making money.
True.
And that's the big problem.
Yeah. I say get rid of him. It's worth it then at that point, especially just to keep. I mean, you hate to have. I don't want to say hate to, but I mean, one person have that much power, but she does at this point.
Yeah,
she is, somebody to look up to for how many millions of females across the globe now. It's not even just America; it's across the globe.
Yeah,
she is she is Wonder Woman now. There's no turning back at this point.
And everybody has that thing that they won't compromise on. Whether it's womanizing or drug using or alcoholism, something like that. If they know that if there's a possibility of being in business with somebody that does something like that, people will turn down jobs because of that. And this is hers, and rightfully so. I mean, it should be everybody's. Yeah. But I mean, she had, like you said, she has the power. She pretty much could demand whatever she wants, and they should pretty much give it to her. I think. I think that she's, like you said, Wonder Woman. She's the person that, at this point, she's driving the DC universe. Absolutely. Yeah, Cavill's been great, and Affleck has been great. We don't know how much longer Affleck's going to even be in the universe. Yeah. And we don't know. We know Ezra Miller, we're being told that he's a standout in Justice League, but is he going to be somebody that can help drive the universe how Gal Gadot has done since Batman vs. Superman? So I guess we'll see. All right. Before we get into the last story, just want to remind everybody to subscribe to us, like us on Facebook, join our Facebook group at The Remote Control. You can find us on Twitter at The Remote Control. You can go to our website, www.theremotecontrol.com. You can subscribe to us on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, all that fun stuff. check us out there. And again, leave reviews. We are going to start having another contest next week for Star Wars, our Star Wars Talk podcast. But you guys are invited to join in on that contest as well. So again, leave reviews and stuff like that because it helps us get better. And we've been getting some pretty good reviews. If you check us out, we got 5-star ratings so far. And if you hate us, review us and tell us that you hate us. That way we can fix it. So we'll go from there then. Disney looks to purchase 21st Century Fox. So earlier this week, we began to hear rumblings that Walt Disney Company held talks to buy 21st Century Fox movie studio and other assets. A person familiar with the matter said a deal that would have given the entertainment giant control of another studio and TV network across the world, and that source was CNBC. Now, this story came out, I want to say it was last Monday, or maybe last Tuesday. It came out, and then like an hour later, it was like, oh, by the way, the deal's dead.
You're like, psych.
So since then, they've been, a lot of people have been saying, like, look, just because it's dead right now doesn't mean it's not going to come back. So what could this mean for Disney, Fox, Marvel, and even Netflix, and even Star Wars? It could affect. Now, as for Disney, I think this is a move that would not only solidify their position within the entertainment world, but make them more of a powerhouse, and they already are when it comes to film and TV. But as for the Fox properties, I think it's kind of interesting because there's potential that Fox could own Alien, Avatar, Predator, stuff like that. What does Disney want to do with that? Now, obviously, that I don't think if they got these properties, they would go, well, you would have the little Disney castle in the beginning of the movie. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah, no, that'd be funny though.
I think they would either keep the 21st or 20th Century Fox moniker and just move forward with that, just like they did with Lucasfilm and what they do with Marvel. That's what I think they would do, and they would still put out the movies under that name, under 20th Century Fox and such. But I think it's a pretty interesting idea. From a comic book standpoint, both of you, all three of us love comic book films.
Yes.
What do you think? What do you think of this idea of Fox, this merger?
I think it's kind of almost too late at this point. It's just so far along. Like I would have much rather seen the X-Men in Civil War. I think Civil War was lackluster. Just because of that, there was not nearly as many people as should have been. But at this point, how do you bring mutants into it and say, oh, they were just here in the corner of the earth, not talking or making any noise or anything like that? I mean, I
have a fix for that right now. The Infinity Gauntlet, or the big battle that takes place with Thanos.
Yeah.
The mutant gene hasn't been established. And something that happens with Infinity War or Avengers 4, depending on when this deal gets done.
So then you essentially reboot X-Men again.
You're rebooting X-Men, and
How many times can you do that? Well, I guess Spider-Man's still valid.
I was going to say Spider-Man's still a valid argument.
They successfully did it with Spider-Man, so why not? Why not just say, like, okay, we're recasting all these rules, the mutant gene starts now, and move forward with that. Civil War 2 could then be
the real Civil
War.
I was literally just going to say that. I would say after Phase 4, you could just start with the X-Men and keep it going, assuming that, if someone's going to die in Infinity War. Or grabs boat. That's not the first time I've done that either.
So Phase 3 ends, and Phase 3 is done. Phase 4 is called the Fantastic Phase 4. The first movie,
I hate you.
The first movie is Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four, they go into space, something happens, and they cause an event that affects them, so they become the Fantastic Four, but that has a chain reaction that causes an event on Earth, which unveils the mutant gene on Earth, and causes... that could be a way to do it. That would be interesting to
buy time.
You buy time. You don't have to squeeze into the Avengers things. You can continue your stories as you're going. And once they're like, hey, we got the Fantastic Four and X-Men, why don't we do it this way? I think that would be a cool way. And I mean, you're rewriting how things happened in the comics, but they're not afraid to do that. Look at what they did with Civil War. Look at what they've done with Winter Soldier. While they take the ideas from the comics, changing it, I don't think fans would be against, especially at this point, because we're losing one or both of Iron Man and Captain America. We're going to be losing all these great characters imagine bringing in the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, having a new Wolverine, you know, other characters that people have loved.
Yeah.
Like that would work, I think, really well. And, you know, they'll find a way to introduce the mutants somehow.
I mean, that'd be awesome. Don't get me wrong. I do like that idea a lot. But at this point, how do you also, you know, so to speak, rip the Band-Aid off? Because Hugh Jackman is Wolverine at this point. You know what I mean?
They've recast other actors to other roles. I still think that, I thought that Tom Hardy was going to be the next Wolverine.
Yeah.
I really thought Tom Hardy was the next person in line for Wolverine. You can find somebody else that can take that role on. You could. Yeah. I mean, I'm
not arguing it. There is, you know, competent actors.
Cast you for it, Bob.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, get a fat, overweight Wolverine from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
But you know,
yins all want snick.
Pierogies pop out on it. But
I can't even grow a beard. All right, much less mutton chops.
Okay, so you're fine. You're fine. We can. I can spare you some. So we do that.
Project Make Bob a Beard has begun.
Shaves pubes. Anyway, that could be a nice one. Then you'd lose all kinds of weight and be out there slaying poon and
slaying poon. I don't know why you're slaying poon like that, but
yeah, fighting off the women.
Gotcha.
For your one love interest.
Yeah. Now, I think the biggest issue when it comes to comic book movies is this coming year we have Deadpool, we have New Mutants, and we have X-Men Dark Phoenix. It's 3 movies. From Marvel side, we have Infinity War, Black Panther, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. So between the 2 studios, there's 6 movies coming out next year. If they get combined, we may get 4 a year instead of 6. What would you prefer, 4 or 6?
I mean, just because...
I mean, now that I have the movie pass, it doesn't really matter. I'll be honest.
I want 6.
Yeah.
You know, that's the more the merrier. You know, you don't want to overload.
I mean, you say we essentially have a comic book movie every other month.
Yeah.
To add with, you know, the DC universe, which is starting to get established. In 2019, we're looking at 3 or 4 DC movies.
Yeah.
You know, so we're looking at, you know, 9 movies in 2019 that are comic book based if it continues this route.
Well, I mean, so to speak, Disney's not going to. I don't ever see Disney. I think Fox is too big for Disney to just completely buy out right now. Mm-hmm. But I mean, just like they did with Deadpool, you know, Disney and Fox worked out the deal where they could use who were the X-Men.
Yeah.
They worked out the deal where they could use the X-Men, and then, you know, Disney was able, whatever they did.
Yeah.
It could be just to strike a deal like that. I mean, we had talked about this before. I think it all hinges on episode 4. I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons for this talk even happening.
For Star Wars episode 4? You think that's the biggest reason?
I think it's one of them.
I think it's, I mean, we're talking about Star Wars episode 4. I mean, I think that plays a role, but I mean, that's the only thing that affects that Star Wars at all is episode 4, is the distributing rights of episode 4. I mean, yeah, it would essentially just make it a little bit easier for them to distribute the movie. I don't think it's that big of a deal for Disney. They've already worked out a deal because they've already released them digitally since Disney took over. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that, yeah, it could be, but I think the biggest reason for this is Netflix. You know, Disney is starting their streaming service in 2019. And yeah, they have a lot of content. They have all the Disney movies. They have Disney, you know, Channel, Disney XD, Star Wars, and Marvel. And that's a lot of content. But when you really step back and take a look at it, how much content do they have for adults? Yeah. You know, not much.
Marvel, Star Wars.
Yeah, but exactly. And even then, you can say, okay, Marvel is. I mean, wow, yeah, adults love it. I mean, it is really for teens, kids. You know, kids and teens. So I think that's the biggest reason. And this will really hurt Netflix, not because they will have a lot more content, but because they will be stealing content from Netflix. Yeah. You know, all those Fox movies and Disney movies and TV shows that are on Netflix will no longer be on Netflix. It'll now be on Disney.
Be just like pretty much exclusives at that point.
So that's the biggest reason for it. You know, the rumor has it that Disney's price point for their streaming service is going to be around $7.99. That's rumor right now. Bob Iger did say that it would be less than Netflix to start with, but that's just to get people hooked.
Yeah.
Like, hey, get hooked and go from here.
It jumps up to $10.99 like Netflix is now.
Yeah. And my assessment...
It's $15 now.
My assessment is this is going to happen. I think this will happen. I think it'll happen before the end of 2018. Will they get everything? No, they're not going to get everything. I think that there's going to be a large portion of stuff that they don't get. I think The Simpsons will be one thing they don't get. I know that I think, people are like, oh, Disney can get The Simpsons. Like, yeah, it's possible, but I think that that's so much of a cash cow for Fox. I think Fox is going to find a way to keep a TV station, a TV channel. They're gonna, which they can't, Disney can't buy Fox because they already have ABC.
Yeah, that's monopolizing.
So that would be monopolizing. So they can't even take the Fox channel. Mm-hmm. So Fox could keep their channel. They can keep Fox. They could keep Fox News. They could keep FX, and then they could sell off some of their properties. On top of their movie studio. And I think that's kind of what's going to happen. We could see the likes of some TV shows going the way of Disney. Maybe some of their older shows like Sons of Anarchy or The Shield, stuff like that was made by Fox that they don't really care about right now.
No, it's over and done with.
I could see that happening, but I think overall that's what we're going to see. It's just right now it's getting the kinks out, tweaking this deal for that. Not only will it benefit Disney, but it will benefit Fox because I read a report today that you have 6 big film studios. You have Disney, you have Universal, you have Paramount, Fox. I can't think of all of them. Anyways, you have a whole bunch. Fox is like number 4, and they aren't as bad as the lower ones, but they're nowhere near the top 3. So they're kind of in that middle area where they're starting to hemorrhage money in some way. So they're like, we got to get rid of some of this stuff. It may come down to them saying, okay, you can have Star Wars, you can have Marvel, have a good day. That could be what happens. Mm-hmm. Or they could come out and say, okay, you can have all of our film, and that's it. Which means they still have the rights to the X-Men on TV and stuff like that. Yeah. So things could be weird, but I think a deal's going to happen. I do.
I see a couple minor deals happening before maybe a big one. That just something, just little stuff.
And remember, it may not all go to Disney. Sony may be like, hey, can we get that X-Men? Yeah.
And be like, please don't.
Yeah, please just don't.
Just stop.
Just don't.
You have a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man. Please stop.
You have a Spider-Man universe that you've screwed up too many times already.
Please.
Just little stuff like the Fantastic Four. I mean, that's one that keeps popping up with Marvel, and it's understandable because of players like Galactus and the Silver Surfer.
They need new villains after Thanos.
Yeah, they need stuff to keep moving forward. They can't, they can ad-lib a little bit. I mean, you can introduce somebody new, I suppose, but how well is that going to go with all the Marvel fans in the world? You know what I mean? Because the reason we watch those is for not just, something new and fun to watch. It's to see stuff that we grew up with come alive. You know what I mean? So you have to pay certain homages to the comics and everything like that. You can't just do what you feel with Captain America. Otherwise, it's not going to sell. People are going to hate it. I mean, people will probably go see it just because it's Captain America, and then after that, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So I would see probably minor deals popping through. If those minor deals start, it shows that they're actually working together and they're actually trying to do something. Mm-hmm. And then I would see probably a big deal happening with Marvel and Episode 4 and all that. But as of now, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see what will happen. I mean, you may even have a smaller company come up, and somebody that is trying to establish themselves and become bigger may come in and swoop in and steal some of the properties. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you might see something like that happen.
When's the last good Alien movie we've had?
Yeah. Don't get me started with that.
But think about it. That could be the first one out there. Be like, it's not doing well. Here you go.
Yeah.
Failed franchise. Disney makes it great again.
Again, it may not be Disney, it may be another company. Yeah. That's what I think people don't need to understand. I don't think they quite get this. They keep hearing Disney, and they're like, oh, Disney's going to get it all. No, I think that there's a greater possibility of them throwing these out to multiple companies, making multiple deals, than just one company.
Whoever pays the most, they give.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting over the next year. Like I said, I think whatever happens with Fox is going to happen by the end of 2018. I do think that there's going to be a deal with Disney done. I think that they're going to get a large portion of Fox. I'm not going to say all of it. Like I think I think it's a good idea for a company like Universal or somebody to jump in there and be like, we'll take Alien and give it a shot. Like I wouldn't mind seeing that happen. So we'll see.
I mean, it's already pooped. They have nothing to lose.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess that's about it for this episode of the Remote Control. So thanks for listening, everybody. Make sure you follow us on everything because this week is a big week when it comes to Justice League. We are going to be doing an episode where we talk about what has happened in the DCEU leading up to Justice League, kind of a review and everything like that. It's going to be some fun, I think, I hope. And then we're going to be doing reviews of the movie the day of release, which is Thursday. We're going to be on our Facebook and Twitter, Facebook Live, Twitter Live, whatever you call the Twitter one. What is it? Periscope or whatever. We're going to jump on there. We're going to walk out of the theater. We're going to pull out our phones, and we're going to be talking about it. Spoiler free, obviously. We're not going to spoil it for anybody, but we are going to talk about it on those sites there. So make sure you follow us and join our group and everything like that. With that said, I was Robert. With me was
Skinny Penis
and
me.
Take it easy, everyone.
That was fun. Where's my mouse there?